The situation continues to remain tense there in Israel. CNN News 18's managing editor Zaka Jacob spoke to Israeli ambassador to India, Nar Gillen, on the Israel-Hamas war. Listen into that conversation.
Can you first tell us what is the situation on the ground as it exists today? Are all Israeli citizens safe? Are they all accounted for? Are there still hostages? If so, how many? What is your best understanding of what is the ground situation right now?
If I can go a little bit to Saturday morning, one of the most holiest Jewish holidays, very early in the morning where people are, Saturday also, people are sleeping in their beds. There was a dual attack perpetrated by the terror organization Hamas from Gaza. They started bombarding with rockets and missiles all along the communities, Jewish communities around the Gaza Strip. And in parallel, close to 1,000 terrorists from Gaza infiltrated more than 30 Jewish communities. And unfortunately, the number of the horror there is incredible, the atrocities, ISIS type of behavior. They killed women, children, elderly, almost 1,000 people. They kidnapped another close to 150, close to 3,000 wounded. Among the dead, more than 250 youngsters who were in an open party music festival, carnival, not far from Gaza. They just butchered them and shot them. And that's it, more or less, the situation. It took us close to 24 hours to regain control of everything, to go from house to house, to look for hunt the terrorists, save some of the hostages that were still there.
Now, Zaka Jacob also spoke to ex-NSA John Bolton on the situation in Israel and the implication of the war. Listen into that conversation as well.
We've all seen the dastardly terror attacks that happened in Israel on Saturday, carried out by Hamas operatives. But now Israel is launching a major counteroffensive by way of air and also major mobilization on ground. What would you say to those people who say that Israel runs the risk of its counteroffensive, of its response being disproportionate?
I think any state, any people have a right to live in peace and security. They have a right to be free from aggression and free from terrorism. And when they are threatened, they are entitled to take steps in self-defense. They are not required to respond only proportionately. They are allowed to eliminate the threat. And if that's what Israel is going to do, I think that's entirely permissible.
How do you then distinguish between who are the Hamas operatives and the Hamas leadership who need to be eliminated? Surely Israel is justified in that after what we saw on Saturday. But how do you distinguish them from who the civilians in Gaza are?
Well, the Israelis were clearly the victims of a terrorist attack, and they are now going to retaliate. The fact that the Hamas terrorists cut off the heads of babies as part of their terror operation shows just how barbaric they are. But you know what else shows barbarism? To use your own women and children and hostages as human shields. So what Hamas is doing in trying to protect itself in the Gaza Strip is simply a different form of barbarism. You cannot equate the victims of terrorism with the terrorists themselves.